Hey everyone, this is John Coleman. Welcome back to another exciting episode of Friends with Your Benefits. Today we have a very special guest star. We have Dr. Harvey Karp, and Dr. Harvey is a pediatrician and the CEO of the Happiest Baby. Hey Dr. Harvey, how's it going? Welcome
Good,
to the
thanks.
show.
Hey, John. Great to be on. Thanks so much for inviting me.
Really appreciate you being here. So, Dr. Harvey, before we really dig into it, I want to know a little bit more about you, right? So can you give our audience a little bit more detail on your background and also what the Happiest Baby actually is?
Yeah, of course. So I'm a pediatrician and child developmentalist. I practiced pediatrics like your neighborhood doctor
Hmm.
around the corner for about 30 years in Los Angeles. And then I was started writing books, and I wrote a book about calming babies and helping them sleep called The Happiest Baby on the Block.
Hmm.
And then a book about toddlers on how to raise emotionally intelligent and resilient kids, 8 months to 5 years of age, called The Happiest Toddler on the Block. And
Interesting.
then a book on sleep as well. And so I started doing a lot of teaching, and then really got interested in improving the health of young families. How do we help parents sleep more and babies cry less and grow up healthier? And that's really what I've dedicated myself for the last 10 years on.
So that's really, really interesting. And one of the things you mentioned there is sleep, right? So I have two young daughters. I have a 4-year-old and then I have a 6-year-old. So I've certainly had my share of sleepless nights, right? So, really, can you tell our audience how important sleep is for newborns and also for working parents out there?
Well, the data, there's tons of data that we're an exhausted society. Over the last
Sure.
couple of decades, people are sleeping an hour or 2 hours less than they were in the past. And ultimately, sleep is essential for life, right? We know that in terms of restorative sleep, where your body kind of heals from all the exertion of the day.
Hmm.
And then from the brain's point of view, also keeping the brain healthy and helping you to file away all the information that you learned that last day and kind of keep it in a place where you can readily access it. And for babies, it's important as well because everything is new for babies. And so they're spending so much of their sleep time just kind of understanding what they learned that day and putting it into building blocks that they're going to build upon for the next day. And so sleep behavior or sleep efficiency is something that's important for their health and as well as the parents.
So very, very interesting. And certainly with the Happiest Baby, you guys have a product out there called the Snoo, and I believe it's some sort of smart bassinet. So what exactly is the Snoo and how does it help newborns and I guess parents out there, right?
Yeah, thanks for that question. Well, first, taking one step back about the happiest baby on the block, because you would think that we've been around infants forever and we would just know everything about them. But, you go on the internet, it gets so confusing. There's so many different opinions on what you should do and what you shouldn't do. The thing that really um, uh, was the reason that I wanted to write that book, and it's a video. Actually, I don't even recommend the book to most parents because they learn it better, the techniques better from watching the video. Of course, the book is a perfectly good book, but a lot of this learning how to take care of a crying baby is like learning how to tie your shoelaces,
Hmm.
meaning you learn it better by watching than even through reading, a 200-page book.
Hmm.
But the point being that all of us have experienced falling asleep in a moving car or a train or a plane or swinging in a hammock. There are certain things that resonate with us that make us feel relaxed and calm. And those are the same things that work with babies, right? You hold them, you rock them sitting in a rocking chair. That's what they love so much. And what most people don't know is that if you look at their life in the womb before they're born,
Hmm.
the sound is louder than a vacuum cleaner 24/7.
No
It's a
kidding.
rumbling sound. Yeah, yeah, it's like the of the blood flow. And then on top of that, they're constantly rocked because every time you breathe, you're pressing your diaphragm against the top of the uterus. And then they're constantly held in that little fetal position. And so then they're born, and we put them in a quiet room. We tiptoe, everyone be quiet. We put them on the back, and we think that that's, you know, seems like that should be the right environment for them. But
Right.
actually, that's the worst environment for babies to sleep in because they're missing all the rocking and the shushing and the rhythmic stimuli that they love so much. It's
Hmm.
really taking away everything that they've just learned for the last many months in the uterus and saying, tough it out, sweetheart. You got to learn to deal with this. You're on your back
Right.
and there's nothing else helping you. It's really like adults. People go, well, is my baby then going to get addicted to sound and rocking? But sleep associations are things we all have. We all like to sleep in beds with mattresses and pillows, even though hundreds of years ago people slept on the floor maybe, or they didn't have such a nice environment. So the nice thing about babies, if you start out by giving them what they're used to, then by 6 months, when their brains have doubled in size, it's much easier to wean them off of those things and get them used to an environment more where they don't have that extra opportunity for rocking and shushing.
Right.
So what we've seen is that if we give babies the rhythms that they love, boom, they automatically are going to sleep an extra hour or two.
Hmm.
Which people go, that's crazy. Can
Yeah.
you really make it right? I mean, you've experienced it. What were
Yep.
your kids like with a 4 and 6 year old? How were they when they were little babies?
Yeah, so the 6-year-old was definitely tougher than the 4-year-old. The 4-year-old kind of got with the program, but nothing was perfect. I just remember the experience being tougher the first time around. But hey, second kid, maybe I just learned some tricks of the trade, and maybe that was the difference.
Probably, and sometimes the first is second from the different as well. But the interesting thing is that there are only three jobs to really take care of a baby well and be a
Hmm.
successful parent: feed the baby properly, calm the crying, and get sleep easily. But if you
Right.
fail at feeding, calming, or sleep, you feel pretty wretched. Um, right now, we teach parents tons about feeding babies and we prepare them for failure, saying, you know what, babies don't, it's going to take 5 or 6 months for your baby to sleep well. And we really don't, know why some babies cry, but sometimes it goes on for an hour or more, and it's going to take a long time for maybe 3, 4, 5 months for them to really get into a better rhythm. And yet, we also tell parents that if they're really struggling with a crying baby or exhaustion, there's something magical that you can do that immediately will help them cry less and sleep more. Drive them all night in the car. Did anyone ever suggest that to you?
I heard that, and I've been told that I'm a very boring driver, so that certainly has worked with both my daughters. Yeah.
Well, those rhythms are the things that lull babies into sleep. And so what we've done now with Snoo is created a baby bed that, and we worked with like leading engineers at MIT and whatnot to
Nice.
rock and shush babies to imitate their experience in the womb, um, and to respond to them with a little bit more rocking and shushing when they get upset, so that half the time we're able to calm babies down in under a minute. And then the other great thing about the bed is that it secures babies on the back. So it swaddles them safely so they can't roll over and get into trouble. And so you just have this wonderful experience as a parent that you put the baby down, you secure them on the back, and you don't have to be checking and checking all night. Did my baby roll to an unsafe
Sure.
position? Because you probably know that's associated with thousands of deaths.
Very sad.
3,500
Absolutely.
babies
Yeah.
die every year in the United States. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, very, very, very sad statistic, and to the extent that the SNU is able to reduce that, I mean, I think that that's awesome. So one thing that I've been hearing out there, Dr. Harvey, and certainly I'm on the consulting side, right? So I help
Mhm.
employers out there really figure out their benefit strategy. And you think of traditional benefit strategy as being life insurance, disability, health insurance, but that definition of employee benefits has really changed over the last few years, particularly in the great resignation. And some of
Mhm.
my clients have come to me saying, hey, I've heard of this thing called the SNU. And some employers have said employees are actually asking about it and whether or not their company can provide a subsidy. So walk me through that. So why should an employer out there, they take the SNU and say, okay, we should subsidize this or give access to it, given that the SNU is available in the individual market, right?
Oh, sure. Of course, people can buy it, like come to our website, happiestbaby.com, or they can rent it. And we really encourage people to go that direction. It's, a little bit more than $5 a day. So instead of buying that extra big Starbucks that you're going to need because you're
Yeah,
so tired, you can use Snoo to help get an extra hour or two of sleep. And even more than that, because Snoo in many ways is an extra pair of hands. So
sure.
besides sleep, if you're cooking dinner or you're taking a shower, or you have to play with your 3-year-old, Snoo can help entertain your baby for 20, 30 minutes and just give you a little bit of a break. And so from that point of view as well, and I have to say, it's now the most awarded baby bed that's ever been made. It's even in the Smithsonian Institution in
Wow.
terms of the accolades for being really an iconic advance for the 21st century. So a lot of parents are hearing about it from their friends and family, and of course they're then talking to their employers, like you're saying,
Right.
and saying, can we get this thing? And the employers are interested now because one of the things we learned through the COVID pandemic is that we need to really pay attention to our families. People are struggling balancing work and raising their families. And if you're not getting enough sleep, which so many parents don't, that's a serious burden on the family. I mean, exhaustion in new parents is the chief trigger for billions of dollars of healthcare costs, postpartum depression and marital stress and breastfeeding failure and car accidents and
Right.
obesity and unsafe sleeping
Huh.
practices and illness and pneumonia and stress injuries and emergency room visits and billions of dollars of employer costs because of poor retention. As you said, the great resignation. A lot of people are
Yep.
leaving because they just can't juggle all the balls. And so about 3 years ago, we started this program where employers rent the beds and then give them as a benefit to their employees. Usually it's a 6-month rental.
Okay.
Of course, if they don't keep it for 6 months, we don't charge that. It's a super easy program for for the employers because it just takes a week or two to get it set up. There's no heavy lift. You don't pay anything in the beginning to establish it. You only pay for whatever is used. So whatever you're billed monthly, and however number of months that the family is using it, that's what's covered. The family has a little skin in the game too because they pay a $99 security fee, so that they're going to be responsible about using it. And
Right.
if they use it beyond 6 months, then the billing goes to them instead of to the employer.
So, Dr. Harvey, where can individuals and employers go to learn more about the Happiest Baby and the Snoo?
Well, you can certainly come to our website, which is happiestbaby.com. Or you can write directly to Lewis, Lewis, at happiestbaby.com. Lewis Krell is our head of corporate benefit program, so he can give you direct information.
Awesome. Well, Dr. Harvey, really, really appreciate you coming on the show today.
My pleasure. It's really great to be on, and thanks so much for the opportunity.
Of course. And for all our viewers out there, we encourage you to like the video, share with maybe a new parent you know, and until next time, thank you for joining.